thought you said plastic surgery!
Hot takes, Fairly Oddparents, let's go.
Careful with that! Look, Baron Von Bighead, get off my back! Which is now bulgy.
I don't know if this is unpopular, but I felt the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour crossovers are just unpleasant due to many characters, primarily Fairly Oddparents, feeling very out of character, particularly Timmy. Timmy could be selfish and egotistical back then, but here, it's just completely unlikable. I've talked about the first Jimmy Timmy Power Hour as my 25th review, and I don't remember either character being so out of place that it infected my enjoyment. I mean, sure, Timmy was probably a lot more aggroed on bothering Jimmy and messing up all of his plans, but what I've learned is that a great amount of Fairly Oddparents was just winging it without a lot of logical leaps. If they wanted Goddard to become a large monster, even though this program probably wouldn't convert a game disc the way that it would program an update disc, you do it anyway. I do understand if you thought the crossover was unpleasant because one thing about both shows was that they do argue a lot within their own shows. So it just brought that side out within these three movies, when they weren't hyping up the love triangle between Cindy, Timmy, and Jimmy.
Would you like some chocolate pudding?
That depends. Which door did you come out of?
Does Timmy really even need fairies? He's not poor or homeless, and half the time he's with his parents. He only has a bad teacher and a babysitter. The thing with Fairly Oddparents is that it never established a baseline of how miserable you must be to get fairies. It seems like a gray area that depends on where Butch and the writers would like to take the show. But the thing is, it is a little misleading to say that it's just his babysitter and teacher, and half the time he's with his parents, which isn't true. It's much less than that, but anyway. Even then, we see his life with fairies now. You would have to imagine what his life would be like if most of his childhood was just Vicky, his lack of a strong parent connection, and a teacher that does nothing but put him and his small group of friends down. In addition to Francis, the realization that he'd never have a chance with Trixie, and the general dismay of Dimsdale, with no way to realistically battle this. So when you frame it that way, yes, he does need fairies. Even then, it would ruin the show without them.
Speak!
What do you want me to say? I know a lot of words, because I just ate a dictionary.
Sparky could have worked if they would have just given him a more early Family Guy Brian Griffin sort of personality. They could have made him cynical and smart instead of just making him a Cosmo clone. We're on the same page here. As much as many of us don't like Sparky, it's not like I dislike Sparky with such a great fury. It's that season 9's general writing for episodes is some of the worst stuff I've ever witnessed. There's more ways than what you would suggest to fix Sparky. Most, if not all of them, revolve around not making him a Cosmo clone. The fact that his character is just dog jokes to character, combined with the lazy writing of season 9, really made him stick out as a symbol of why this 9th season sucked. What many people don't talk about, however, is that a lot of this season blended in, and for many people, they most likely remember the introduction episode of Sparky, and that led to a large dislike of his character. This would also be the second or third new character in a short amount of time, and it's not like Fairly Oddparents is such a story-driven show that warranted a big reason to add in a dog.
Happy Friendiversary! Creatures are different, different is good. You want creatures in your neighborhood.
I hated the Jimmy Timmy Power Hours. We are in polar opposite boats, my friend. Since I already defended the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, let's talk about why I didn't enjoy the Bunsen is a Beast / Fairly Oddparents crossover. This would have been around the time of season 10, and weirdly enough, they didn't have Chloe, Poof, Anti-Poof, or Sparky in this crossover, presumably to do 3 separate crossovers to cash in on this hype, but anyway, this crossover was built on lazy animation techniques and crossover appeal. The story was bare bones. It was just a combination of what both shows do, just together. The Beast of Friends aspect is just a poor attempt to explain why they'd be together, and at this point, Timmy's dad sees the fairies just as much as Crocker does, which doesn't make that much sense. At least give respect that the blending of animation styles there was good, at least tolerable, and that there was an overarching story there that can hold your attention. Plus the crossover appeal there was a lot bigger and grander of an idea.
Cosmo, I'm going to ask you a very important question. Do you love Fairy World?
Yes? Is that the right answer?
The show was worse than Tough Puppy. Ooh, now that's a take I didn't plan to see at all. I love Tough Puppy. You could even make the case that with that show, it did Hartman's updated humor a lot better than season 5 of Fairly Oddparents and onwards. That show was just adjusted to the hyperactive pace, and since the story allowed for action, but also lots of wacky comedy surrounding a spy theme that would give it the twist it needed, the show works, and works well. Obviously, if we were to split Fairly Oddparents into pre and post hiatus, you'd have my answer before I even say it. Yes, pre-hiatus Fairly Oddparents is better than Tough Puppy, but Tough Puppy is better than post-hiatus Fairly Oddparents. But if you mean overall, it's hard to tell. I enjoy a ton of pre-hiatus episodes, and I think a large number are better than some of the best that Tough Puppy can offer. And I'm sure because of the amount that Fairly Oddparents produce, I'm much more likely to find an episode of Tough Puppy to enjoy than Fairly Oddparents because ratios are fun. There's just a big spot in my heart for Fairly Oddparents, and I don't think Tough Puppy can take that. But I don't find this opinion with no grounds of reason, so to speak.
I wish the chainsaws were balloons.
I hate to say this, then why'd you say it? But I think the live-action Fairly Oddparents trilogy of films should have ended the show, or at least show another way for the series to end in a unique way. You're not actually off here in the slightest. There's many different endings to the show that would have worked, and the live-action way works. The ending of one of the movies goes as so, as Timmy would be as immature as you would remember him in an animated series. Throughout the movie, he realizes that Tootie is actually not that icky, and he wants to be romantically involved with her, and because of this, he ends up nearly losing his fairies. But in the end, obvious spoiler alert, Jorgen would grant some use of his fairies, even though he's growing older and alongside Tootie, so long as they use it to help people. Now that works, and it could be a not officially ended canon whatever that I would totally accept. Things didn't go wrong until Sparky came along. I actually like Poof. The show was so good when Poof was a new character. Poof wasn't a bad addition to the show, and the show had great episodes during the Poof era. The problem is that the show's stick has run thin. When the top 3 highest rated comments in my YouTube community posts essentially add up to the same thing, I guess we gotta talk about it. I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion that Poof is a good character. From what I hear, people are basically split into 2 camps, for the most part at least. It's either Chloe or Sparky, where they pinpoint where the show went downhill. And yes, there may be some purists who think that the show was perfect as is, but that in and of itself, according to comments like these, that I get way more of, would be an unpopular opinion compared to this. Poof is a good standalone character, and when he had episodes like the one where he went to school, it made baby steps, total pun, in the right direction to becoming a well-rounded, another pun, fully fleshed out character. Maybe it was because Poof was so successful that led to the staff thinking that they can replicate his success and fill in the absence of those like Vicky, Francis, Trixie, with all of these new characters. The problem is, I don't know if it was acceptance, as much as it was tolerance and forgiveness that a large majority of fans took when it came to these new characters. For example's sake, just a scenario, I could throw up a let's play on a cartoon game, but imagine if that was all I did going forward, like I just pivoted towards that. I would understand that many fans wouldn't be okay with that. It's the frequency in this case, and also the quality of the characters, that should go without saying.
You're right. That's one shiny plaque, Turner. Almost as shiny as this one Vicky gave me!
My eyes!
Consider my Patreon if you want to see even more hot takes, including an upcoming Patreon exclusive Fairly Oddparents hot takes video that's not going to be public on this channel. And until next time, let me know what hot takes video you want to see next. If you haven't seen my last hot takes video that was regular show, here you go. And also check out my SpongeBob hot takes for more Nickelodeon videos. Until next time guys, special thanks to the patrons of April. Take care. Alpha out.